The impact of COVID-19 pandemic to online food delivery service is presented to you by Egmilan Relin, Ellie J. Joy, Infante Aikin, Reyes Patrick Kevin, San Pablo Joan, Talastas Care, Tyson Chris Robin, and Villaroman Justine. In partial fulfillment, required in our subject, Business Research. Introduction. Online food delivery service is a process of ordering food online through websites and applications. While impact defined as having a strong effect to someone or something. A pandemic is defined as an epidemic that crosses international boundaries, affecting people in a worldwide scale. Let us have a brief history about the virus called coronavirus, or mainly COVID-19. It was in December of 2019 when they discovered a virus in mainland China. The virus originated in a wet market in Wuhan, China. A wet market refers to a marketplace where they sell live animals like fish, cats, dogs, bats, rabbits, and many more, where the market floor is constantly being washed because of slaughtering. There are three main roles in a successful process of online food delivery service: the consumer who orders the food, the transporter or the rider who brings the food, and the seller who sends the food. In this study, we mainly focus on the transporter or the riders who is more vulnerable to get infected by COVID-19. This is also to give recognition to them who also serve as frontliners. Statement of the problem. First, we get the socio-demographic profile of the online food delivery riders, their location, age, gender, and their salary bracket. Second is the safety protocols of the riders during the pandemic. Under this, the medical supplies, the sanitization, and the simple guidelines they follow. Number 3, factors that affects the income of the riders. Under this, the income, under income, lockdown effect, and increase of income. Second is the factors, under factors, curfew, and city lockdowns. And lastly, riders' interaction to consumers. Under this, customer sensitivity for food and service. And next is customer satisfaction. The conceptual framework. First, we input from the web research, related literatures, related studies, and data. Then we process and find the target respondents, make the questionnaires, validate the questionnaires, gather the data through the research instrument, then analyze the data, then it comes the output. After the output, last is the interpretation of the study and feedback. The theoretical framework. The study applied UNG theory and found 8 keys gratification behind the use of FDA, namely convenience, societal strain, customer experience, delivery experience, quest of restaurants, quality control, listing, and ease of use. The finding shows that customer experience, search of restaurants, ease of use, and listing were the major antecedents of intentions to use FDA. FDA is simply food delivery apps. The research includes various implications about how the online food delivery service still handle the new process of services offered. People use delivery apps or websites for their comfort and ease. But when the pandemic came, people changed their perspective not only for having ease and comfort, but also for their safety, that they don't need to go out and expose themselves from the virus. That is why the riders are considered as frontliners, as they're also a public-facing entity. The hypothesis. The pandemic causes big change and impact to online food delivery service which regards to their income, nature of work in the new normal, and how they deliver proper and clean and good service to people, as they are the one who are early permitted to go out and put service to the people. The significance of the study. This study signifies the role of this industry during these times of the pandemic. How important this industry works for us, especially in this time that the government implies the safety protocol to lessen the spread of the virus. People often prepare to order online, which is good that we don't need to go out and risk ourselves exposing our body outside, as we all know that there are deadly virus roaming in our place. It lessens the risk of getting infected by this virus because we don't have to socialize with other people and expose ourselves. The only concerns is the recognition how hard for these guys, referring to the riders who gave us the services that we needed. In order for them to earn income, they are the one who risk and expose themselves to the virus. It is an eye-opener topic for us who stay at home and keep ourselves safe during this pandemic, while there are these frontliners who risk their lives to give us the services we need. And now, we are heading to the chapter 2, the review of related literatures and studies. Foreign literatures. According to industry sources, the COVID-19 pandemic has introduced a new challenge to the food distribution industry, which could have an effect on online food delivery services, or OFDs, by Killery 2020. Restaurants and related providers, especially fast foods restaurants, are able to provide food. Customers, on the other hand, are wary of placing orders during the pandemic, despite the fact that OFDs have required their delivery partners to wear personal protective equipment and encourage customers to pay digitally to ensure contactless delivery. As you can see, this picture shows a contactless delivery, where you need to distance yourself while receiving or sending a food delivery. Local literature. COVID-19 pandemic has shifted the retail landscape from brick and mortar to online processing of orders and connecting to last-mile logistic providers to address the growing demands of people that are confined in their homes, by Leico 2020 and Magkila 2020. Buying and selling of goods, services via various modalities online is called e-commerce, or EC in short, by Castro 2019 and Magkila 2020. Claimed that by 2022, EC activities are projected to account for half of the country's economy. Here is a picture of online food delivery, a perfect example of an e-commerce. Foreign studies. Study shows that whenever people see risk somewhere, they develop self-protective behavior. In normal conditions, self-protective behavior is not observed by customers while they make a purchase decision. During disease outbreaks such as SARS, avian influenza, H1N1 influenza, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, and the COVID-19, this self-protective behavior becomes significantly pronounced. The fear of getting infection spread faster than the disease itself, by Ado 2020, Del Isle 2004, McKersher and Sean 2004, Wen 2020. As you can see in this picture, it portrays of the fear of getting infected by the virus. Local studies. The study for safety measures include contactless delivery for GrabFood, introduced this week to minimize contact between consumers and delivery partners. Consumers can option out for contactless delivery by following 3 simple steps. First, inform delivery partners to drop off the order outside the door or at a specific location such as the building reception if allowed by the building management. Second, delivery partners will place the order at the specified location notify consumers of their arrival, and wait for them to pick up the order standing at least 6 feet or 2 meters away from the order. And third, we strongly encourage consumers the option for cashless payment. If it is unavailable to use cash, they can place the amount in an envelope and leave it where the food order is. By PhilStar 2020. As we see in the picture, there is a specific location where the food needed to be dropped off. In Chapter 3, we need to tackle the research design and the methodology. The researchers used the quantitative method to be conducted through online survey questionnaire sent to the target respondents, which is the riders of online food delivery service. The data gathered will be statistically and mathematically analyzed through this method. We also use the descriptive method as we interpret accurately the collected data from the respondents. This is the average or statistical interpretation of data gathered to be described in which category it will fall through quantitative information. We aim to get 50 respondents, but only few responded to our survey questionnaire. That's why we need to downsize it to 30 riders. And we do receive response from out of 30 plus riders. The research instrument. Our research instrument, or the tool we use, is Google Survey Forms. It is a form of gathering data where you will answer the form online. We made a socio-demographic form for the legitimate information of the respondents. Then the second part is the questionnaires to be answered according to the scale of interpreted options. We use Likert scale format. It is designed to determine which category is average answer will fall. The numbers depends on the intensity of the answer. It is a 5-point Likert scale format. We also use weighted mean. It is the measure of general response from the questionnaires and survey. When the survey findings have been evaluated, there is also a methodological approach to follow. Here's the formula how to get the weighted mean. Weighted mean is equal to sum of scale multiplied by weighted factor divided by sum of all weights. And now let's proceed to Chapter 4, Presentation and Data Interpretation and Analysis. Question number 1. How important for you riders to use and bought medical supplies like face masks, face shields, alcohol, and other sanitizers for your safety and for the safety of the customer? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 4.85, which is extremely important. Question number 2. Sanitization is a must, right? How important is sanitization for you to follow, especially for the food you handle? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 4.64, which is extremely important. Question number 3. Does this pandemic affect your income as a rider? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.91, which is very affected. Question number 4. Does these early lockdowns affect your income? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.85, which is very affected. For question number 5, does the pandemic affect the increase of your income? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.21, which is moderately affected. For question number 6, does curfew affect your working hours during this pandemic? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.70, which means very affected. And for question number 7, the city lockdowns affect the places where you mostly deliver food? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.94, which means very affected. For question number 8, how sensitive are customers in terms of online food delivery service as a whole? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 4.00, which means very sensitive. For question number 9, how sensitive customers in terms of delivered foods? The weighted mean fall in average range of 3.97, which means very sensitive. For question number 10, how sensitive are the customers in terms of your service? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.97, which is very sensitive. For question 11, are you satisfied when a customer appreciates your job and effort? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 4.67, which is extremely satisfied. And for the last question, number 12, do most of your customers are satisfied with your service? The weighted mean fall in the average range of 3.70, which is very satisfied. And now let's proceed to chapter 5, summary, conclusion, and recommendation. For the summary, this research shows how important sanitization is to all the riders who gave us comfort and safety by risking their lives strictly following the guidelines and safety protocols, facing everyday danger to serve us and bring home money for their family. COVID-19 impacts their income, but yet they are still there serving us. How lockdown affect their income, how curfew limits their working hours, and how city lockdowns limit their territories. We all know it is so hard, and how bad it is to be exposed in the public. It is very risky and not advisable. Though their income increases, it is because it is said that there is this that we call self-protective behavior, which is very evidently shown nowadays, protecting ourselves in the most effective and possible way that we can do. But let's just think about these heroes. We pray for them, that even if it's so hard for them to face every day like we do, like everyone else does, let's just hope that this pandemic will come to an end soon. Findings of the study. Based on the data we gathered, the finding of the study is somewhat good and bad. Good in terms of the income increase because of the demand in online food delivery service. Good as they follow strict sanitization and guidelines of the government, practicing the best service they can provide. But it is somehow bad because of the restrictions and limited working hours. And the most risky is to be exposed to the public providing service because it is their way of living. We cannot blame them. It is a highly in-demand job right now. People lessen their time to go out and be exposed to COVID-19. We strongly believe that this sector is highly affected. There is still good in it. That we are more justified appreciating every well-being of everyone, especially the frontliners. How important sanitization is. We learn about the consumer behavior and how e-commerce took place to keep us all safe with cashless payments and contactless delivery. For the conclusion, number 1, we therefore conclude, based on the data gathered, it is highly important for the transporters to sanitize not only food but also themselves and strictly follow the safety protocols and guidelines of the government. Next is, and we also conclude that there are increase of income for majority of the riders who works under online food delivery service. The third is, we also conclude that restriction from this pandemic affects the working hours and reach territories of riders as they face everyday challenges with lockdowns and curfews. And last, we also conclude that this online food delivery service serves a big role in this pandemic, as we foresee that people took it as one of the main options for buying food instead of going out. Our recommendations that we learned from this study is to online food delivery service is one of the fastest growing sectors. Better to invest and learn online selling. Second, practice cashless payments. Third, practice contactless delivery. Fourth, we as consumers should practice also the proper sanitization. Fifth, respect every food delivery riders, and hear them out with their concerns. The next one is practice ordering online to lessen the risk of getting infected outside our home. Next, teach the elders how e-commerce works. And last, pray for every day that we are safe and pray for the others to be safe also. Order only the essentials for us to live. And lastly, pray for this pandemic to end. That's all for our research. Thank you.